Hello, everyone, and welcome to another podcast. So, this month, like I said in my last one, I'm going to be doing Christmassy topics. Since I've been living abroad for the past 5 years, I thought it'd be kind of interesting to talk about the different ways I've been celebrating Christmas and the different Christmas traditions. But also, one of the things that is quite different is the fact that over here, Christmas is in winter, which is pretty much the same as most of the world. But I grew up having Christmas in summer, and that I feel like that would be a pretty interesting contrast. So today I'm going to be speaking about what Christmas is like in Australia growing up. The way I grew up celebrating it might be quite a bit different from a lot of people, but it also might be similar with people in some ways too. Um, I'm also going to try to mention all the things that we do differently just because of the hot weather. Honestly, though, I much prefer the winter Christmas. It just feels like Christmas. Like all the movies that we watch on Christmas, they all have snow and they all just look, everyone's wearing like amazing like Christmas sweaters and stuff. And I have a Christmas sweater, but I can't really wear that in Australia because our, during Christmas, it's a very, very hot time of the year. Usually it's like in the 30s Celsius. So it's pretty hot during an Australian Christmas. So for me, what a regular Christmas was as I was growing up, it obviously changed a little bit as I got older, but what it generally was is I'd wake up. This is when I was still living with my family as well. We'd wake up and then we'd start off by doing our present opening routine. So someone will be at the tree handing out the gifts, and I think usually it'd be me. Yeah, I think it's usually me because my dad will be usually recording us doing this, so it'd either be me or my mom or one of my sisters, but it's mostly me. So I'll just hand out gifts and we'll just like take turns like opening a gift each until we've gone through all the gifts. And then after we do that, we'd go to my grandmother's house. And so this is, I don't know if I've spoken about this on my channel yet. I have a very multicultural upbringing. So I'm from Asia. I was born in Asia. My biological parents are both Asian, but I became an Australian citizen when I was around four, because my mom got married to an Australian guy. So I basically got adopted into an Australian Italian family. So if you know my family name, I have an Italian family name because I took on his name, but my birth name is an Asian one. I have an Italian family name now. So my grandmother in Australia is Italian. My grandparents are both Italian, and then we have like Italian family over there. So I grew up with like Asian and Italian upbringing, and I feel like and then also Australian because like that's like natural. I do feel like I'm more in tune with my like Asian roots, but there is part of me that like I feel like I'm very snobby about like having pasta and lasagna and all that kind of stuff because I grew up having it made by an Italian grandma who's actually from Italy. She's an Italian immigrant, so the way she makes pasta and stuff, like I grew up with that, and I can't really accept like lower quality pasta very well. Anyway, so we go to my grandparents' house, and we'd have gifts from grandparents, from uncles, aunties and stuff, and we'll just open gifts there. And then we have our Christmas lunch. It's usually a lunch, so like the entire family would gather, and we'd have, of course, we'd have a lot of pasta, but we'd also have a barbecue. That's one of the like biggest key things about Australia is we love having barbecues. I feel like every culture has their own form of barbecue. I don't know, like Korea, like in Korea, like the most famous kind of barbecue is samgyeopsal, which is like pork. I don't know, like I don't really know what the cut of meat is called in English. I think it's on the back. No, it's belly, pork belly. That's what it is. Oh, I'm so bad because like when I was in Australia, I just like ate meat. I never really considered about what cut it was. I didn't even know what the differences were. But in Korea, it's kind of like you kind of have to always order by the cut. So I eventually was able to learn about different cuts of meat in Korean, but I don't really know a lot of them in English. I only know a few of them. So anyway, Korean, common Korean barbecue is like pork belly, and you just like grill that on the table and then you eat that. I guess Australian barbecue might be a bit similar to like other Western countries, like maybe some American style barbecues and South African. I don't know about England. I don't know about a whole lot of other countries' barbecues. Yeah, so for us, we just get like a bunch of different like meats and especially sausages. That's like a really big thing as well. And then we just like, is it called grilling? We barbecue them. I don't know what that's called, but we put them on the barbecue, on the barbie, and then we eat them with our other food. So, being an Italian family, we have like a lot of pasta, of course. We have our meats. We have breads. Can't think of what else. Oh, we have like, because my grandma, she just makes like a massive amount of food. There's a lot of like vegetables that are roasted, and then there's roast chicken, and she just makes so much food. And some people bring food as well, and then we'll have like desserts later on. Yeah, and then we also like me and my cousins, we just like watch TV or play games, like games as in like card games, or we'd go and play games like outside with like toys or with like whatever. There was like my grandma had like a bunch, like this storage that was full of like toys for the grandchildren, and like one of the shelves just had like different balls. Like I don't remember if there was a soccer ball. There was definitely like an Australian football. I'm pretty sure there was some kind of throwing ball, and then there's this game called bocce. It's kind of like a Italian version of like lawn bowls. Is that what the game is called? Lawn bowls? They play that here too, but it's the Italian version. So we play that too. We play like, there's like a lot of stuff we did, and we just spend the whole day there and then go home. But then as I got older, I started to go to church by myself because my family wasn't going there as much and I wanted to go. So my church would have their service in the early afternoon. I think, what time was it? I think it was like 2 or 1, I don't know. So our family stuff was always in the morning and we'll just stay there all day. So I just go and do the family stuff and then I'd leave early and go to church and that was when I was older. Yeah, and I think that's how I'd be celebrating it now if I was in Australia right now. I'd go do my family stuff in the morning, and then right before my church stuff starts, I'll just like leave early and then head over. So I think usually I'll just like, because I think it's like usually around the time that we have lunch, so I'll have to like quickly like inhale the food and then like rush off to go to church. And church is, I like what my church does as well. Like my church in Australia, we'd have like because we're kind of separated into groups, so it's like you kind of have like your kind of like church family, and each of the groups would kind of do a performance. They'd prepare a Christmas performance, so everyone would do their performances. So the entire like church congregation is divided into groups, and each group does one. So we'll have like 8 to 12, I don't know how many groups there are, but a lot of performances, and then they'll give awards to like the top 3, and it's usually like a vote. So it's really fun. I think people don't really treat it like a competition, because like the prizes is just like a big box of like toothpaste. So each person in the group gets 1 box of toothpaste each or something. Like I don't know, it's like usually like rewards that are kind of like you can just use them at home and they're not that expensive. It's like something like kind of fun and everyone gets one each sort of thing. But it's not really about the rewards, it's more about just like doing something together and spreading, like doing some like fun Christmas performances and stuff like that. I kind of miss like watching those. My church now in Korea, we do those, but it's kind of different. It's kind of like only the people who really want to do something will do it, and I don't know, it's different. It doesn't feel like they're getting the whole church involved, which I can understand. It's not easy to do that, but like that's what makes me miss my home church a little bit. Yeah, but then apart from that, so that's basically what I do, and then I'll just go home and just like for dinner. So when I was living with my family, we'll have like a nice dinner together at the end, or we'll go to another like Christmas party or something, because I don't go to my grandma with like my mom and half of my sisters. I only go with one of my sisters and my dad. I'll get into that sometime in a future video. But yeah, so usually my mom will go to a different Christmas party with like the Asian side of our family. So sometimes we'll go there, or we'll just go home and just have like some like leftovers, or I don't know, just have like a movie night or something. When I was like living away from my fam, when I was living on my own with like housemates, after church, as I was living with people from church as well. So after church, we'll go home and we'll have like, we'd either have some like good food together, or we'll watch something together, or we'll just like do something together afterwards. Because you know, we just came from church together, having that, you know, after our big like Christmas celebration stuff. It's always really exciting, and then we're kind of like still in that moment when we go back home. But then apart from that, I think what's really common in Australia during Christmas is like a lot of people go to the beach. This is so weird for non-Australians, but a lot of people go to the beach. A lot of people go to parks and have a barbecue with like the public barbecues. I don't know what else. I'm pretty sure there's other events that's on, but it's really hard to get a spot on the beach or in any of the parks because they're just so extremely crowded. So generally, if you want to have a good time, you'd ideally want to be like doing something at someone's house. So if you don't have a family in Australia, you'd be better off finding a group of friends who also aren't doing anything and just like have like a barbecue together at someone's house. That's really the best way to go about it, because going to like a public place, it's going to be a nightmare because everything's going to be closed, and then the public spaces like beaches and parks are going to be extremely crowded. But yeah, so that's basically like an Australian Christmas. In the middle of summer, we either like go outside to like nature places, or we stay inside under the aircon. And also Santa wears like a bathing suit and he surfs on the beach. Like we have like this different image of Santa. So because it's always a bit weird, like imagining Santa wearing that really warm coat all the way over to our like extremely hot country. Anyway, that's pretty much it. I really enjoy like reminiscing about my memories of Christmas while growing up. Yeah, hopefully this year can be a good Christmas, even though we still have a pandemic, and right now in Seoul we have an outbreak, so everything's gonna be closed like late. Like everything's gonna be closing really early for the next 2 weeks, and there's a lot of stuff you can't do for the next 2 weeks. So hopefully after those 2 weeks everything's gonna be okay, but we don't know. But anyway, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.